Hi boys and girls, it's Miss Rossi. Today we're going to finish our patterned hand project from last week. What you'll be needing today is your papers from last week, so you should have a large paper that you designed for our background. So I tie-dyed mine with a bunch of different colored markers. And you should have another paper that is smaller, about half the size, that you created a different type of pattern or design on. A pencil, a glue stick, and a pair of scissors. Last week we talked about creating patterns using the elements and principles of art, and I created my own pattern on this small paper using lines to start, where I created a lot of repeating lines to have a full design on my paper. Then I went back in and I colored in certain striped areas to add color into my paper. And then I finally went back in with shape and added all those little circles to add shape to my pattern. So my pattern includes line, shape, and color, all repeating to create a uniform design. So today we're going to talk about positive and negative space. So in artwork, positive space is typically what the subject of the artwork is. So if you have a drawing of a dog, that dog is going to be the positive space, and everything around the dog would be the negative space. So our picture today is going to show positive and negative space along with our patterns. So I'm going to put my larger paper to the side and grab my smaller paper that I added my patterns on. I'm going to flip it over onto the back, and I'm going to trace my hand. So I'm going to lay my hand right in the center of that paper, and I am going to trace it using my pencil. I'm going to go very carefully from my wrist, which is lining up with the bottom edge, out towards my fingers, all the way around, and bringing it all the way back down to that edge of the page. You want to make sure your wrist is touching both edges of your page. And now we can cut out along our pencil line. While we're cutting this out, we want to be careful to only cut it out in one piece. So we want to cut our hand out in one piece, and we want the background paper to be one piece. We can't cut out a bunch of little chunks off of this paper. So when you're done, you should have two pieces of paper. So with my scissor, I'm going to follow that pencil line all the way around, starting on that one edge, that bottom edge, and now going up and around towards the rest of my hand. All right, so I have cut it out in two pieces. So I have my hand, and then I have the other piece that is like the frame of my hand. I'm going to put my pencil to the side, and I don't need my scissors anymore either. I'm going to grab my glue stick and my background paper, and I am going to put my hand on one side of my paper and the frame of my hand on the other. And the easiest way to line this up, in my opinion, is to start with the frame, because you can line that top corner up with the top corner of your background paper. And we'll be able to glue that on, and then your hand is just going to go coming from the next edge, lining it up with that bottom edge, so the bottom of your wrist is lined up with the bottom of your paper, and just going out towards the center. You can decide how you want to place yours on your paper, if you want your hand to be going the same way as the frame, or if you want it to be upside down and it to be the opposite. I think I might do the opposites on mine. But I'm going to start with the frame and add some glue on the back. So now the subject of our picture is our hand, and on one side, our hand will be created using the background, and the black and white design that I made will be that negative space. And on the other half of our paper, our hand is going to be made out of that black and white pattern, and the tie-dyed background paper will be the negative space. So now that I put glue on this, I am going to line it up with one corner. So the corner of my pattern paper is getting lined up with the corner of my background paper, lining up those top edges and lining up the side edge as best as I can. And then I'm just going to press it down on my paper. And if it doesn't line up perfectly, that is okay. Mine is going off the edge a little bit here, so I can shift it down a little You just want to make sure it's all glued on there and it's sticking out nicely. I think I need some more glue on here. And just press it down for a few seconds. Make sure to get all those little inside pieces down too. So we don't want anything popping up. So now I have the subject of my first half of my paper is my hand, and my hand is created by that tie-dyed background. And all of this black and white pattern is the negative space that helps create the image of my hand. So sometimes your negative space can help create the subject by doing the outline of it. So that's what's happening on this side. And on this side, my positive space is going to be my pattern. The negative space is going to be the tie-dye that's in the background, and my positive space is actually making that shape by being cut out in the shape of my hand. So I'm going to put some glue on the back of this one now and glue it down to the opposite side. And I'm putting mine so it is upside down compared to my other hand. But if you want both of your hands facing the same way, you can line it up with that bottom edge there, and that'll work. But I want it to be upside down, so I'm going to line the bottom edge of my hand up with the top edge of my tie-dyed paper, trying to place it in the middle as best as I can, making sure that it sticks, and I'll check those fingers to make sure they're not lifting up, and if they are, I'll just put a little bit more glue under there. Just like that. So that is my patterned hand picture all finished. So it is showing both positive and negative space in two different ways on both halves of the paper. And I have my awesome patterns that I created using the elements of line, shape, and color. Once you are finished with your project, you're going to take a picture of it and share it with me on Canvas. You can click the next button at the bottom of my activity page to go to our assignment page, where you're going to click the blue Submit Assignment button to upload a photo or video of your project. I can't wait to see the amazing work you guys have created. Try your best, have fun, and get creative. I'll see you soon. Bye!